Today's Focus Report takes us to one of the most remote of France's overseas territories. On the 4th of November this year, the people of New Caledonia will vote in a referendum to decide whether or not the cords should be cut from Paris. Despite years of reforms, divisions and inequalities are still rife. For example, the cost of everyday goods is over 30% higher than on mainland France, while the average salary on these far-flung islands is sadly 20% lower. As the French president begins an official visit to the territory, our team has sent this report.
Bernie Tiavoine works as an engineer in Kanak, a separatist stronghold in the north of New Caledonia.
We're in front of the factory where we extract the ore from the mine.
This is a nickel mine. New Caledonia containing no less than a third of the world's reserves, it's the island's main source of wealth. Thanks to this plant, opened 4 years ago, this once poor region has experienced an unprecedented boom. Bernie oversees the production of ore. The plant has created nearly 3,500 jobs.
It's brought a lot to the north. Before, everything was focused in the south. Now, with this factory, there's work for us here in the north.
The factory has become a symbol for the indigenous Kanak people, the reward for the previous generation's political struggle.
I'm proud to be able to continue their work. People that worked hard to get this plant up and running, who fought to overcome the north-south divide.
It's job creation like this which has helped bring back peace to New Caledonia. In the 80s, the archipelago had sunk into a quasi-civil war. On one side, most Kanaks wanted independence. On the other, the so-called Europeans wanted to remain French. The Matignon agreements brought a plan for peace, aiming to correct the inequalities between the south, where wealth was concentrated around capital city Nouméa, and the rest of the island, which was little developed and mostly Kanak. The new northern factory, funded by the French state, spearheaded this plan. Today in Kanak, the region's capital, the separatist mayor proudly shows off the town's new infrastructure.
There's a bank and financial services, a petrol station.
Basic services that were non-existent 30 years ago. Fields and scrublands have been replaced by a cinema, a prison.
And over there is the university.
But perhaps the biggest success yet. This month, a new hospital is set to open.
30 years ago, you had to go to Nouméa, but not everyone had the means to get there, so some stayed here. No, they didn't. But we've now corrected these geographical and social inequalities.
In this brand new business area, it's hard to find anyone who's not happy with the changes.
Congratulations on this area. It's really well developed.
Our factory brings people from everywhere to settle in Kanak.
We're from mainland France originally, and we've been here since September 2016.
We never imagined we'd have all this 20 or 30 years ago, but today we're happy because we can share the wealth, and we try to bring all the communities together to create a common citizenship.
But although the north-south divide may have gone, New Caledonian society as a whole remains deeply unequal. 4 hours' drive south is Nouméa, the island's biggest city. Here, beaches, marinas and luxury apartments sit next to slum huts and social housing, where most of the inhabitants are native Pacific Islanders. Nicole Mitride earns €1,300 a month as a housekeeper, but can't afford a private apartment. Renting in Nouméa costs nearly as much as in Paris. Nicole is struggling to make ends meet, like all of her neighbours.
La vie, elle est chère, madame, à Nouméa? Ça, c'est sûr, ça. C'est vrai. Comptez chaque franc. Ah oui, chaque franc, un franc, c'est un franc.
For Nicole, too, prices are an obsession.
It's so expensive.
These 4 basic items cost €10, and then there are bills. It's €60 a month for water.
La vie, elle est trop chère.
Life is too expensive. I know that they need to increase prices, but they should increase wages too.
It's the salaries that aren't keeping up.
The minimum wage here is 20% lower than on mainland France, while prices are on average 35% higher. To prove this point, a local activist fighting against the high cost of living talks us through the cost of a bag of groceries. Here we go. I'll let you check out the prices.
Okay, so here we have a chocolate bar for 8 euros, which costs around 2 euros in France, 4 times more expensive. 4 small yogurts, 4 euros 50 here compared to 1 euro 50 in France. A lot of things that most New Caledonians can no longer afford.
He blames it on companies with a monopoly on the local market.
The one and only thing that hasn't been reformed, despite all the pressure, is the New Caledonian economy. It's an economy that we inherited from colonization. We're still a trading post, and that hasn't changed.
Efforts to bridge the north-south divide have had mixed results. No longer drawn along geographical lines, inequality persists nonetheless. This could weigh heavily on the people's decision at the island's independence referendum in 6 months' time.
Well, that focus report from New Caledonia can be watched again in full at your convenience on our website and on our social media platforms.